Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Town of Grand Falls-Windsor Public Council meeting for June 16, 2026. Well, welcome to those in the gallery and those watching at home. I'll call the meeting to order, and I'll ask for a resolution for the approval of the agenda. Councillor Hiscock, second. Deputy Mayor. Any discussion with respect to the agenda? There being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Resolution is carried. We have one proclamation this week, and the proclamation involves Pride Month. It's Pride Month, June 2026, here in Grand Falls-Windsor, and the proclamation reads as follows. Whereas the town of Grand Falls-Windsor is a welcoming community, and whereas lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, non-binary, two-spirited, and asexual, 2SLGBTQIA+, people are valued members of our town. And whereas the town of Grand Falls-Windsor supports the Pride community through the annual flag raising, painting of a rainbow sidewalk in front of the town hall, and supports the annual Pride Walk. And whereas diversity is recognized as one of our most essential strengths, and there is a commitment to combat homophobia and transphobia to foster a safe and inclusive environment. And whereas Pride Month serves as a commemoration of generations of 2SLGBTQIA+ individuals who have displayed unwavering courage in the relentless pursuit of the right to live safely, openly, and authentically. And therefore, I, Mayor Mike Brown of the town of Grand Falls-Windsor, to hereby proclaim the month of June to be Pride Month. And with that, at 4:30 on Friday afternoon, this Friday, there will be the flag raising and the annual Pride Walk, so everyone is welcome to attend that event. We'll move on now to item number 4, the adoption of the minutes. Can I have a resolution for the adoption of the minutes, please? Councillor Cody, second. Councillor James. All in favor? Aye. Any errors or omissions?
I just have I don't think it's an error, but clarification.
Okay.
Item 9.1 in the May 2026 was for the discretionary use for the residential rental unit for 148 Main Street.
Right.
And the decision note that was adopted was for a one-bedroom residential apartment, but the email request from the proponent was for a two-bedroom apartment. So I don't know if it's an error and I'm just wondering, since the proponent requested a two-bedroom apartment, if we have to start the process again, or what happens with that, because there, like you said, what we adopted was the one-bedroom, what he requested was the two-bedroom. So I just wanted some
Okay, I understood he
clarification.
just requested a one-bedroom to accompany the 4 units that are there as we speak.
In the email, it was a two-bedroom, and the sketch that was there was for a two-bedroom as well. So I'm just wondering if that needs to be, and I actually brought that up at the May 26th meeting. So I'm just wondering, do we have to start that process again? Does the proponent have to resubmit his request, or is it acceptable to have that discrepancy between the request and the decision note that was adopted?
Go ahead.
It's a two-bedroom apartment, not two apartments, right?
No, two-bedroom apartment.
Two-bedroom apartment, not two apartments.
Yes.
I think the critical decision for council in starting the discretionary process was whether or not you're going to allow an apartment to be built on the ground level in the downtown commercial zone, commercial downtown zone. Thank you. And so that's really the critical decision. And whether or not it's two-bedroom apartment or one-bedroom apartment or even a three-bedroom apartment, I don't think that's the critical information that council is permitting. What you're permitting is that the change in, what's at discretion is whether or not you're going to let an apartment and living units occur at the ground level. And so whether or not that's one or two bedroom, I suggest that it's not relevant enough to start the process over, because your decision, I don't think your decision would be hinged on whether or not it has two bedrooms or one bedroom in it. It's whether or not you're going to let an apartment occur in the first place.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Hollett. Councillor Hollett, that we didn't approve anything that night. All we approved was the process to start. And the business owners on Main Street and the general public, in turn, will have a chance to comment on this in the coming weeks, and we'll get their opinion on whether, and in particular, the residents of Main Street and the businesses on Main Street will get their opinion on whether they think it's a good idea or not. So we look forward to that as well.
Just to clarify.
Yes, okay.
I just wanted to make sure that,
Yeah.
that what we adopted wouldn't have to come back to us again,
Good.
because there was a discrepancy between
Right.
the decision note and what the request was. So I just wanted to
Yeah.
clarify.
Okay, no.
Thank you.
And rightly so. Thank you.
I couldn't, so the resolution, if
Yeah,
if
go
we'll
ahead.
take a minute, thank you. The resolution that council, this is the resolution that was adopted in your meeting about this matter, that council authorized the Department of Public Works and Development to proceed with the discretionary use process for a proposed residential rental unit within an existing building located in the commercial downtown zone on 148 Main Street in accordance with the Town of Grand Falls-Windsor's Development Regulations 22-23. That's the main resolution. Now, there's probably other context that Councillor Hollett's referring to that,
Right.
if I was to read down through it, that you may be referring to. But the main body of the resolution, everything else is supporting the resolution, but the main resolution just speaks about a rental unit.
The last four words on that page.
Yeah,
in the
probably
discussion
by-
says, unused commercial space into a one-bedroom residential apartment. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to
Yeah,
make
no.
sure that everything was,
Right, no, we're happy.
Certainly, the
to-
resolution is focused. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a resolution and on the floor. All in favor of the adoption of the minutes from May 26, 2026? Aye. Any opposed? Resolution carried. Any discussion with respect to the minutes of the public council meeting on May 26, 2026? Okay, there being none, we'll move on to item number 6.1. With respect to Community Safety Planning Initiative, and I'll ask Councillor James, please, to pass on the information note.
Thank you, Mayor Brown. The issue is the town of Grand Falls-Windsor has been awarded a one-time grant of $75,000 from the Department of Justice and Public Safety to develop a community safety plan. This project reflects the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador's contribution towards completion of a community safety plan for the town of Grand Falls-Windsor. Council had discussions regarding the development of a community safety plan. This plan aims to identify priorities and actionable strategies to enhance the safety and well-being of citizens in our town. The funding is earmarked to contract with a qualified consultant that has a background and experience in the development of community safety plans, supplemented with market research skills. The plan will be driven by public engagement, best practices from other communities, stakeholder consultation, and survey research. Just to finish off, I just want to make it nice and clear that there is no cost from this $75,000 towards the town. The mayor had consultations with the Department of Justice. We secured the $75,000. I'm excited about it because we have been in a lot of discussions lately about safety concerns in our town from a lot of different scales. This is a wonderful start. This company will be an independent of us, and this aligns extremely great for over the past several years with the town of Grand Falls-Windsor's focus for a safe community and their continuing ongoing efforts to try to find as many best possible solutions as we can to enhance the safety in our community. Thank you, Mayor Brown.
Thank you, Councillor James. Any more discussion with respect to Councillor James' information note on the public safety? Well said, Councillor James, and we look forward to that safety plan being implemented and look forward to working with the key people doing that safety plan as well. Okay, we'll move on to item number 6.2, another information note. And it has to do with the garbage collection on Rosedale Avenue. Councillor James, please. No, Councillor Feener. 8.1. What's that? 8.1. 8.1. Okay. Councillor Feener, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The issue is to advise council of a planned change to the residential garbage collection schedule of Rosedale Avenue. A discussion on the background of current status. Council reviewed an information note regarding a change in the residential garbage collection schedule for Rosedale Avenue. The Department of Public Works and Development have reviewed the current garbage collection operations on Rosedale Avenue and identified concerns related to the street's narrow width and limited maneuvering space for standard collection vehicles. The street is currently serviced as part of the Thursday residential garbage collection route using a full-size collection truck. Due to the constrained roadway conditions, operating larger vehicles on the street present a challenge for maneuvering and increase the risk of damage to adjacent private property and municipal infrastructure. To improve safety and operational efficiency, the department is proposing to move Rosedale Avenue from the Thursday collection route to the Monday collection route. The Monday route already includes several streets with similar characteristics and is serviced using smaller collection vehicles that are better suited for narrow roadways. The proposed change will improve accessibility for collection crews, reduce operational risk, and provide a safer environment for residents and municipal staff while maintaining the same level of collection service. The residents will be notified in advance of the change with a final Thursday collection occurring on June 18th, 2026, and the new Monday collection schedule commencing on June 22nd, 2026. This transition will ensure there are no interruptions to regular collection services.
Any more discussion with respect to the Rosedale Avenue garbage collection route change? Councillor Hollett.
I just want to point out that it's a good call. I think some of these smaller streets definitely need to be changed to the smaller vehicles. I know that there has been some instances in the past. I know it's a bit probably not very pleasing to the residents because you get used to your garbage collection being on a particular day. But I think in light of the reasons that the change was proposed, I think it's a very good idea and it was a good decision.
And difficult for our operators to turn the big truck around on those narrow streets, and their view is blocked on occasion, and this is complete safety, for sure. And I suspect all the residents of Rosedale were notified by mail. Thank you, Mr. Chapman. Okay, any more discussion with respect to the Rosedale Avenue garbage collection change date? Okay, we'll move on to item number 8.2. And that has, with respect to Household Hazardous Waste Day. Councillor Feener, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The issue is to provide council with a summary of the Household Hazardous Waste Collection Day held on May the 9th, 2026. Discussion. Council reviewed an information note regarding the Household Hazardous Waste Day held on May the 9th, 2026. As part of council's commitment to providing enhanced waste diversion opportunities for the residents, the town of Grand Falls-Windsor organized and funded a Household Hazardous Waste Day on May the 9th, 2026. The event was provided free of charge to residents and offered an opportunity to safely dispose of household hazardous materials that are not accepted through regular garbage collection services. The town retained Central Newfoundland Waste Management to provide collection, transportation, and disposal services for the event. The total cost of the event to the town was $3,066.
Thank you, Councillor Feener. And certainly a worthwhile event. I know our Director of Public Works and Development is big on these events and certainly gives people a chance to rid themselves free of charge any dangerous goods they have around their house. I remember on May 9th there was a fairly big lineup there. But you can get through the lineup fairly quickly. It's just a quick drop off and the boys got the bins set up and that kind of stuff. So a worthwhile practice for the town of Grand Falls-Windsor, and we get rid of a lot of dangerous waste and materials by that. Deputy.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't know if it's something that we can look at probably having mid-summer, but for $3,000, I mean, it's not a great amount of money, but there wasn't a whole lot of stuff collected in this time. It's 400 liters of oil that is usually double that at this time of the year. I don't know if it's something we can look at next year. I know we already got a program in our budget for this year. Next year we can probably look at having it midsummer and just have one a year. And that will give residents, I drove by a couple times that day and I didn't think it was very busy at all there. So,
yeah,
just something to look at.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? So, Councillor Hiscock, please.
Yeah, when you're looking at that, Mr. Mayor, we're looking at approximately 400 liters of oil. There's two 45-gallon drums, which would have probably been disposed across the river somewhere on some road somewhere. And, the propane cylinders and stuff like this will be discarded. So for me personally, I think is a good thing. And sometimes we pass by, yes, and there might not be anybody there, but it's so fast going in and out. So, I mean, I think it's something that's great. Twice a year, we got to keep it up for sure.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Hiscock. Deputy.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, again. We usually collect twice as much as the 400 litres. And myself, when I got liters of oil in my garage, I would just leave them there. I would leave them there for 6 months, leave them there for a year. I just leave them there until it needs to be collected. So it's, if you do it once a year, you do it twice a year. It's very little space in your garage that you can just leave it and bring it down then. So, I'm just looking at if we can do this once a year, we can probably collect 800 litres in midsummer.
Okay. That will be discussion for during our next budget consultations to see where this is. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, we'll move on to item number 9.1. The Municipal Plan Amendment number 26, and Councillor Hiscock, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Council approval is required under Section 23 of the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000 to approve Municipal Plan Amendment number 21, 2025, and Development Regulations Amendment number 28, 2025, and authorize the amendments to be forwarded to the Department of Municipal and Community Affairs for registration. I propose that Council approve Municipal Plan Amendment number 21, 2025, and Development Regulations Amendment number 28, 2025, as adopted.
Okay, can I get a seconder for the resolution, please? Councillor James, thank you. Any further discussion? Councillor Hiscock.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, the town of Grand Falls-Windsor initiated Municipal Plan Amendment number 21, 2025, and Development Regulations Amendment number 28, 2025, to permit short-term rentals as a discretionary use within the commercial neighborhood, which is the CN zone. The amendments are intended to support the adaptive reuse of former commercial and civic buildings for residential purposes while improving the financial viability of redevelopment projects. The proposed amendment were adopted by Council on February 17, 2026, in accordance with Section 16 of the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000. Public hearing was scheduled for May 22nd of 2026. However, no objections or representations were received during the prescribed notification period as permitted under the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000. The public hearing was subsequently canceled, and in general terms, these amendments would give council discretion to consider allowing residential units located within the commercial neighborhood zone to operate as short-term rentals. Council previously approved amendments permitting residential uses within the commercial zone, and these amendments build upon the earlier decision by adding short-term rentals as a discretionary use option for those residential units. Approval of these amendments and submissions to the Department of Municipal and Community Affairs for registration represents the final approval step in the process prior to being publication in the Newfoundland and Labrador Gazette.
Thank you, Councillor Hiscock. Any more discussion with respect to item number 9.1? And again, we're allowing the process to take place, allowing apartments or in commercial zones. And we're allowing people to fill out applications for that. We're not saying that our commercial zones are going to be filled with residential apartments, because that won't be the case at all. So all applications will come to council, and council will decide whether it's a good idea or not to have an apartment above a business, for example, or a downstairs apartment in a business. So that's something this is approved. I expect we'll have some applications in due course. I know there's some people waiting already, and council will entertain those applications as they come in. Any more discussion? Okay, Councillor Hollett.
I have a question, I guess. Would the former Carmelite house that's located on Carmelite Road, would that be considered in this commercial neighborhood? Because it's like a civic building or a building within a commercial neighborhood. Would that come under this banner for this?
I suspect that Carmelite Road, where the old Carmelite building is located, is already zoned business, commercial, and residential. Would it be to satisfy the Carmelite House in its time? And we're going back.
I don't know what is zoned.
We're going back a
It
long
was built
ways.
there before most of the streets. So, and I never looked back on it. But it would be, it was obviously for residential living, but it was also, it's probably a zone that suits public use because it was a public use owned by the health authority, really. So without me looking at a zoning map, I just don't know. And likely if it was, and if it is that zone, then it would probably have to be rezoned to residential or a commercial zone, depending on what the use was. A residential zone, I'd say, if it became an apartment building. But it's definitely a building, as a side note, that needs to be addressed in some way by the government or NL Health, who own it, right? And council has expressed an interest in the past in working with them to facilitate them finding a use, but we haven't been engaged. We have engaged them, but they haven't engaged us back.
Thank you.
Okay, Councillor. Yep, Councillor James.
Just for my own personal information here, so Health NL owns the building?
Well,
And-
it may technically be owned by Transportation Infrastructure. I'm not sure how their ownership goes on all their
Yeah.
buildings. Sometimes that department owns it, but the health authority owns it. So the decisions, I don't know, it's most likely one or the other.
Because I'm sure at some point in time, council will get a briefing on this building, because having grown up in that area, knowing it when it was a hotel, and I drive by almost every day, and I'm not sure what the ins and outs are and what the reasoning is for not getting it zoned or not getting it back, or what the process is if we could secure it back in our hands. But I'd like to get a briefing sometime soon on exactly where we are with it, and maybe what kind of a game plan we got for the overall potential use of the facility up there. That, I mean, is built out of brick. You know, 7.5 on the Richter scale may not topple it. You know, it's almost as tough as the Joe Byrne Stadium. So I'd like to find out what previous plans may or may not have been in the past, and maybe what we're looking at in the future. What are the pros and cons? Thank you, Mayor Brown.
Thank you, Councillor James. And the condition of the building would be important as well. And I suspect transportation would be able to tell us at some point soon what kind of condition that
Pretty
building
sure
is
there
in.
is some engineering assessments done by Central Health, when it was Central Health. I just don't remember exactly what degree of studies they were, but I do remember seeing something. It's been a while.
Right, and as per Councillor James' request, if we could have that information at our next committee of the whole meeting? Or our
Yeah, I
next
can see
management
what's
meeting?
available.
Yeah, see what's available there.
Yeah.
And if there's nothing available, and it might very
Yeah,
well
I'll
be
have
the
to let you
case.
know,
Yeah, let us know that too. Councillor James.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, I don't need an in-depth briefing or anything like that. I'd just like to know, like, I don't care what the terms and the conditions are right now as it relates to how accurate they are, but just get a little bit of a background on what's gone on in the last 10 or 15 years. And who knows, with all the changes going on around us today and all the potential improvements that are on the horizon, it could be a very valuable asset to us for the right price, of course. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor James. So
It should be 0, I hope.
Okay, any more discussion? Councillor Hollett.
I just want to elaborate on, I mean, we're in a housing shortage that has potential to house a lot of residents. So it's something, I don't know if we're pursuing that end. That's why I was concerned with it, with the neighborhood, like if that was a commercial neighborhood zone, so we would be able to, I mean, 'cause that has a lot of potential to take care of a lot of homeless people that
it
we
would.
have in our
Definitely.
community. So I
Yeah.
don't know if that's something that's pursued, and if it is something that we could pursue and see where it goes from there.
Okay, we look forward to the information, and you're right, if it's suitable to house residents and have apartments in it and that kind of stuff, certainly a grand location and a building that's already equipped to do that pretty well, given the past reasons it was used. Okay, any more discussion with respect to Councillor Hiscock's amendment? We have a mover and a seconder. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Resolution is carried. We'll move on to item number 9.2. Councillor Hiscock, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Council approval is required to adopt Municipal Plan Amendment Number 26, 2826, and Development Regulations Amendment Number 34, 2026, under Section 16 of the Urban Rural Planning Act 2000 and proceed within the next stage of the statutory amendment process. And I propose, under the authority of Section 16 of the Urban Rural Planning Act 2000, the Town Council of Grand Falls-Windsor adopts the Amendment Number 26, 2026 to the Town of Grand Falls-Windsor Municipal Plan. Under the authority of Section 16 of the Urban Rural Planning Act 2000, the Town Council of Grand Falls-Windsor adopts the Amendment Number 34, 2026 to the Grand Falls-Windsor Development Regulations 2022-2032.
Thank you, Councillor Hiscock. We got a resolution on the floor. Can I get a seconder, please? Deputy Mayor, any more discussion with respect to the resolution?
Thank you, Mayor. The Town of Grand Falls-Windsor proposing amendments to the Integrated Community Sustainability Municipal Plan and Development Regulations for lands located on Riverview Road South. The proposed amendments would redesignate the subject property from natural open space to urban residential and rezone the land from conservation to residential RS-2 single unit small lot residential zone. In general terms, this amendment would allow a small unused parcel of land along Riverview Road South, which is currently designated as open space conservation land, to instead be used for residential housing development. If approved, the land could accommodate approximately 3 small residential building lots serviced by existing municipal infrastructure. The area has never been developed for recreation or trail purposes, and the town has no future plans for recreation use in this site. An initial publication a public consultation process was completed in accordance with the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000. Public notices were issued inviting comments and submissions from the public with the submission deadline of March 13, 2026. No submissions or objections were received during the consultation period. And basically, Mr. Mayor, that is going down Riverview Road to the right-hand side. It's just an open lot there that could be used for some more small housing development in that area. And like I said, we already have the water, sewer, everything in place, so it was minimal cost to have that developed.
Directly across from our new Habitat for Humanity homes.
Yes, it is.
It's right there. Any more, Deputy Mayor?
I got a couple of questions here. Since this came up last week, I did drive down there, and I did notice that the water and sewer was already put in there. Did we put that in for a reason, or did we anticipate that something was going there? The reason why we put the water and sewer there?
Mr. Chapman?
Council approved a project to put a new water line in for the Habitat for Humanity building, and included with that, we went a little bit further to access additional building lots on the southern side of Riverview Road for the future.
Okay, thank you. And one more thing. There's 4 water shutoffs there, so I'm expecting 2 houses and 1 duplex. That's what I'm expecting. There's 4 water shutoffs there.
Yeah,
there's 2 on each end, and there's 2 in the middle. So will there be a duplex in the middle and 2 houses?
I would have to double check and see what we had planned for there, right? But it is, if there's 2 shops there, for sure, it'll be a duplex. I think on the opposite side of the road by Habitat, there's room for a triplex over there as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any more discussion with respect to Councillor Hiscock's amendment? Councillor Hollett.
This item actually was brought up, we had the rezoning discussion on April the 14th during our management prep meeting, and we were talking about that triangle parcel of land. That was not and the direction of council at that time was that we weren't going to include that. And then again, when we had our meeting on April the 21st, it was stated in here that that wouldn't be included. And it's come back since then that we actually, what was stated at our April the 21st meeting, that this parcel would be removed at a later time. So we're back here today. So with this adoption here now, that parcel of land is not going to remain as the natural open space and the conservation that it was intended with the council's direction that was on April 14th.
But that last piece of land on Riverview Road South, it's not big enough for a property to be built on. I'm pretty sure. Would you agree with that?
Oh, I'm in agreement with that.
Yeah.
But the decision and the direction of council on April the 14th was that that would remain as in the zoning that it was, which is natural open space and conservation. And then we went to our council meeting on April 21st, and it was then reiterated by yourself and Councillor Hiscock that that was our decision of April the 14th.
Right.
So it's back again, right? So I
Right.
just wanted to, so what we're adopting, this is going to be all changed.
Go ahead, Mr.
Oh,
Field.
sure. So there was discussion when we had, in the meetings we had with management and where we discussed this. You did express an interest in having the bottom half, the narrowest part of the triangle, because it's like a long triangle that were 3 blocks, so there's room for 3 houses to be constructed, 3 building lots. And the narrowest end, which narrows in by the last home, I'm trying to explain it, which you all know, but so the public also can follow along. So the last narrowest part, you would want that removed. And in that meeting, I suggested it could be removed later on at the end of the process when we got through public consultation. But I was not aware of the nuance that, because I had compared it to the situation where council done the rezoning done the rezoning on off Tulit to connect to Ogilvy. And at the end of that process, we changed, after the consultation, we changed the thoroughfare all the way to Ogilvy to a cul-de-sac, and we changed the project at the end of the consultation based on the commissioner's report. So I believe that could happen in this case. But I was advised after, so I give you the best information I had at the time, but now I've learned since that you can't change the land use planning map once you start. So there is a nuance that made it different, and I wasn't aware of that. But so we're at the point now that you can leave. The recommendation is to rezone all of the land, because the last smallest part of the triangle has no impact on anything that's relevant to council. Like no one's able to buy the land because it's crown land. It's not big enough to construct on, because it's just because it's zoned residential doesn't mean someone can buy it and build on it. So it has no impact, and to go back and change the land use map for that reason now would ultimately just slow council down in your process and in your quest, I'll say, to just acquire the land, so that the land, because we haven't acquired the land yet, the next step is to acquire the land and make it available for housing. So that would be the goal. So to go back now would set you back 3 or 4 months. Depends on the dealings with the municipal affairs to change the process. So the motion before you now is, if you accept the resolution, you are approving the entire area to be rezoned, the 3 lots plus the narrow end of the triangle, which is not suitable for building. But that still doesn't impact the project, is all I suggest to you.
Okay, Councillor Hollett, and then Councillor Feener. Councillor Hollett, go ahead, and then Councillor Feener.
So we rezoned it. Are we going to be requesting from Crown Lands the entire parcel that we're rezoning, or just the 3 residential building lots?
Just 3 lots.
Just the 3 lots. So that would remain with Crown Lands.
Yeah, like the mill, by example, to answer your question. Council can zone anything in your municipal boundaries, whatever zone you want, even if you don't own it. It could be private people who owns it, it could be government that owns it. You can rezone, your council sets what the zone is. And in some cases, council decides whether or not the zoning can, or whether or not a development can occur if it's discretionary. Or if it's permitted, people can just apply and carry on. So to answer your question directly, it's just the 3 lots.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hollett. Councillor Feener.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The parcel of land in question, the little triangle down there, I know we've got access now to the mill stretch there now in that area.
Yep, we do.
That people can access. And across the street there on the other side, there's going to be some buildings, some houses built there as well, and hopefully in the near future.
Yeah.
So this little parcel of land could at some point be a parking spot for people who want to access the mill stretch to, further walking or stuff like this here. So, I mean, that little parcel of land could be still utilized. We could still use it for nothing else, a parking spot. That, people do access it, same as down by the Heritage Building. There's a parking space down there where people will park their vehicles and then access the mill stretch for walking. So this is just another entry point that I think that at some, if we are to, to keep the land status quo, that little triangle of land, that could service, I guess, from what I understand, can service a half a dozen maybe or so of vehicles to stop there. That can, instead of having to park on the road, because eventually it's going to be housed on both sides and there's going to be no place to park. So we could utilize it for that, maybe. It's just a thought.
Good idea, yeah.
The council could turn it into a parking lot if you want it, but that, you can do that whether it's on natural open space or residential.
Okay.
You can turn it into a parking lot, really, but it's crown, you have to acquire it really from the crown land technically, but
Yeah.
there's lots of examples where it don't occur.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Feener. Any further discussion with respect to Councillor Hiscock's resolution? Okay, there being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Resolution's carried. Oh, I'm sorry, you opposing that? Okay, so let's reflect that the vote was 6-1 in favor of the resolution. Okay, we're going to move on to item number 9.3 now, and that's with respect to the demolition at 4 Church Road. And Councillor Hiscock, please.
Thank you, Mayor. The issue is to advise council that the appeal period respecting the demolition order issued for the property located at 4 Church Road has expired without any appeal being filed, and that the town intends to proceed with demolition and removal of the structure in accordance with the order. On September the 4th, 2025, the town issued an order pursuant to Sections 8 and 285 of the Town and Local Service Districts Act and the Town of Grand Falls-Windsor occupancy and maintenance regulations requiring the owner of the property located at 4 Church Road to demolish and remove the building. The order was issued following inspections, reports, photographs, and previous enforcement actions which determined that the structure was in the state that warranted demolition and removal. The property owner was provided with 30 days to appeal the order through the established appeal process. Staff have not been informed of any appeals filed within the prescribed timeframe. The owner has failed to complete the required demolition and removal of the building. As a result, the order remains in full force and effect. Staff intends to proceed with demolition and removal of the structure. The work will be scheduled for a future date when weather and staff availability and site conditions permit the work to be completed safely and efficiently.
Thank you to Councillor Hiscock for the information. Note any more discussion with respect to Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. I got a couple issues about this building. I remember back in the day, before they put the siding on, they had asbestos. It looked like asbestos siding on before, the small shingles like. Yes. And that building's been around since probably the 50s, and we don't know what lead paint, what asbestos in that building, so that's going to be very costly to the town. We should look at what it actually is going to cost the town before we actually get into just going over them and demolishing the building, because if there's any asbestos or lead paint in that building, it's going to be a big dollar. That's going to cost the town, so we should certainly research that before we jump into just tearing the building down.
No, that's right. We're not going to send people in there where it's unsafe. And so who is responsible for the cost of removing the building? I mean, the council's going to remove the building. Would the previous owner, or the owner actually, be responsible at some point for the cost of that?
All the costs associated with demolishing the building, or if an order was to repair it, would be to the owner.
Right.
Ultimately, and you would collect it normally upon the sale of the property at a later date. So it'd be sometime down the road, typically recover your claim. The same would go for if we were to do an assessment on hazardous materials or how that gets removed, get those kinds of assessments. And we can certainly do that as a first step to get that assessment done. And then if you go through the process of having it removed before the demolition, presuming there is hazardous materials in there, that cost would also be borne by the owner.
Okay, so as a just reflect just on the cost, there's no cost to the town. we will get our money back eventually. We don't like to be doing this, but the previous owner has, or the owner actually, not the previous owner, the owner has not responded to any of our requests probably over a 3-month period. We did our very best to contact the owner and to explain it all to him, but no reply whatsoever. So go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, thank you again, Mayor. Look at the cost of the land, what the value of that land, piece of land is, and what the cost, if there's asbestos and lead paint in that building, that's gonna be far greater than the value of that land to remove that. It's, you're gonna be talking hundreds of thousands of dollars to remove that. It's not just gonna be going over, just take it off. You know, it's a very expensive venture if we're going to tear that building down. If there's any contaminants in it, and you know, it's there's something we should, you know, and you know what, if we're going to bring in somebody to go over and determine this, you know what, I know the owner don't have a whole lot of money. I don't mind checking that out first with the town, and us taking that on before we even put a mall hammer to that building.
All right, so we'll inspect the building before we
Yeah.
ever
All
attempt
right,
to take it
thank
down.
you.
Okay. Okay, any more discussion with respect to Councillor Feener? Go ahead.
Mayor? In relation to the building over here, you know, the town or council is not strong-arming this individual, you know, just taking his land. I mean, we give him ample opportunities. I know, you know, in some conversation with the CAO there, you know, it was brought up that, you know, that he was trying to be contacted on numerous occasions to come over and trying to rectify this, you know, hoping that he could make it work better for him, but he refused or he didn't respond. So it's like, I just want to put it out there, like, you know, we're not strong-arming anybody here. Like, you know, we did all the protocol that was in place for us to do. But, you know, with no response, we had no other choice but to do what we're doing.
Right,
Thank you.
no, that's right. We're backed into a corner on this one for sure. Councillor Hollett, did you want to respond to Councillor Feener?
I don't think I'll get into all the nuances of it in a public meeting, because typically these things also lead to legal proceedings, so it's just something to keep you mindful of for me and for all of us. But, you know, he would have been walked through all of the steps, and we're unfortunately to this point.
Okay, Councillor Hollett. Well, good point, Councillor Feener. No, he's not being strong-armed in any definitely not being strong-armed. Go ahead, Councillor Hollett.
So I think the decision of council here tonight, or the direction of council tonight, is we would need confirmation and in writing a hazmat or a hazardous materials assessment of that building to identify any hazardous materials that could be there. Because as Deputy Mayor Bennett pointed out, the chances of asbestos and lead being in that building has a high potential, because I think most buildings that are built before 1990 are considered to have those in them, as opposed to thinking that they don't. So I'm recommending that before we do anything, that we have a hazardous materials assessment. If it is to the cost of us, that's something that we could get back in the sale of the property. But if it's identified that there are hazardous materials in there, the cost could exponentially increase. And it's not only, I mean, we have to look at the safety of the public safety, and if there's asbestos there. And then it's the workers. I mean, we have to seriously consider, I mean, OHS would certainly not want our workers to be working on a building that has asbestos. So I think our very first initial thing that we have to do is get that hazardous materials assessment done. And then we kind of have to come back to council and see where we go from here. Because if we get into remediation and abatement of hazardous materials, the cost could far outweigh the value of that property.
Thank you, Councillor Hollett. Good points. Councillor James, please.
I agree totally with Councillor Hollett and Feener and Deputy Mayor Bennett. While I recognize the need to have to do this, I think it's important that the public also understand that our planners and their staffs have done everything by the book. Every opportunity was given in a legal way, shape, and form. I have every bit of confidence that our people will go in there and do the right thing, do the right assessments. Cost is going to be very important, but so is the safety factor. And as a personal note, I just want to say that there is a lot of history in that building, in that neighborhood. I'm older than most people in this building and spent a bit of time in there when Jack Bashaw was alive. I won't be looking at anybody else that had some times in there as well. But, you know, and it was good times had by all. So, you know, I remember Mr. and Mrs. Bashaw. I remember all that. But there comes a time now when there are safety issues. In the past, the town has had to struggle, past councils especially, and managers with the issues that were going on in the town for a couple of years, and it took a yeoman's and yo ladies' work to rectify that problem. So I see the concern. I'm all for the concern. But again, you know, I feel for the individual or individuals that are involved here, but this is the right decision. We just have to be prudent about how we approach this and make sure that we got all our dots dotted and all our T's crossed. Thank you, Mayor Brown.
Thank you, Councillor James. Councillor Cody, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm so frustrated here this evening. I don't even know where to start. We had this lengthy conversation in a previous meeting about derelict buildings, taking care of, taking down properties that are not being maintained, that are eyesores in the community, that are safety concerns. None of these questions were presented in that meeting. We have bylaws in place to help us deal with this. What is the point of the bylaws if we're not going to enforce them, if we're not going to enact any of our responsibilities on them? I'm jotting notes furiously. The work will commence. If any dangers come up during the demolition of that building, the work will stop, and we will do the proper procedures, techniques, environmental assessments, whatnot. That'll all happen at the time. They're talking about incurring costs to the town, which we will eventually recover on the sale of that property. If we have to do an environmental assessment on every property in this community that we want to clean up, then that is going to increase cost tremendously. It's going to slow down this process, which we have been talking about trying to speed up, not slow down. There's so many factors involved here tonight, and I cannot believe that these conversations were not had when it was appropriate to have them around the council table or around the boardroom table. These are not new thoughts that just came up. They're just newly presented here tonight. I'm just flabbergasted, really. I mean, we have taken down buildings before. Our crews are trained. They know how to deal with environmental hazards that would be presented to them, if there was any. If we are to assume that every building in this community has asbestos or lead paint or whatnot, well then nobody's going to want to buy old buildings, nobody's going to want to renovate old buildings, nobody's going to want to refurbish old buildings. We're going to be left with them because we're not going to want to take on any responsibility with taking care of the properties that the owners have clearly decided not to take care of. So these questions coming up here tonight and delaying this process further, when I know next week we'll get in that boardroom table and it'll be a question on the directors again, how come you're not doing something about these derelict buildings? So why wasn't this brought up at a previous meeting when these conversations were had, instead of now when we're ready to make a decision to move forward on this and slow it down and move it back again? It's just ridiculous.
Thank you, Councillor Cody. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As for this not being talked about out there, I went through my notes. It came in my head, so I wrote notes down. This is the reason why I brought up about the asbestos, because I never remembered last week when we sat down last week, I remembered about the asbestos shingles on the outside of the building. That was my thought. I know up in Labrador City, all the houses are up there got the exact same thing. It may not be, but we do have to check it out for the safety of our employees. We cannot go over there and start tearing the building down, and all of a sudden asbestos going out through all downtown, and we're putting the residents at risk. That can't be done. We got to do diligence first. We have to do that. We can't get there and sit down and say, you know what, that building needs to come down, let's tear it down. We can't do that. We have to do our due diligence to go in, see what's in there, see what it's going to cost us to take it down.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, this building has to come down. Sure, I got no issue with that, but it has to come down safely. And we can't put anybody over there, any resident in Grand Falls, Windsor, breathing asbestos. And when it comes to asbestos, it's only dangerous when it's moved. If it's stationary, it's not dangerous. If it's left there, it's not dangerous. If it's moved, that's when it becomes dangerous.
Right.
So I feel that Councillor Cody should do her due diligence and research like I did after the meeting and bring these items up, because that wasn't on my mind last week when I was sitting in here. It came to my mind after. And you know what? I'm not putting no resident or employee of this town at risk by just going in and tearing the building down. Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, and so let's be clear here. We do have employees working with the town of Grand Falls, Windsor, building inspectors, times 3, I think, or times 2. We had occupational health and safety inspector. So we entered the building when we closed it down. We did a lot of inspections at that time. We had an electrical inspection done, plumbing inspection done, and several other, and that gave us the cost to close the building in the first place. So was there any other inspections done on the building up to this point?
Not since, no, but I mean, like, I'm okay to, like, get an assessment done on what hazardous materials are there. If council wants to choose to, if that report is negative and council wants to choose to invest in what the cost is to remediate it, hypothetically, if that's the result, then, you know, you'll get that information later.
Right. All right, and we're not going to have our employees
No.
walk into any danger, as we don't in any building we demolish. Councillor James.
Yeah, I don't know if I mumble-jumbled myself the last time that I was standing up, but I'm in a lot of agreement with Councillor Cody as well, because I have confidence in our staff, the only a little over 8 months that I've been here. You know, I really don't think that our people are going to be going in there unsafe, but I appreciate the concern, I really do. But I have all the faith in the world in the people that are trained and are provided with the right gear to go in and make this stuff happen in a safe environment. And I think that is just part of the natural process when you go into this, especially living in a community like ours. You know, we weren't here 500 years ago. We're here in 1905. And I think we're going to do our due diligence. I got all the faith in our staff, the people that have been doing this for a while. They'll be provided with whatever they need. I agree, we got to be careful of it, but we still have to proceed. We have to proceed. Thank you.
And as I said, we do that with every building we attempt to demolish. I mean, precautions are taken with every building that is demolished by the town of Grand Falls, Windsor, so that our employees are safe and the surrounding neighborhood is safe as well. Any more discussion with respect to Ford Church Road? Councillor Hollett, please.
To say that things were brought up tonight that weren't brought around the boardroom table, it's called research. It's since that time I have been researching to see what things are. Believe you me, I don't want to slow anything down. I've been bringing up derelict properties since I got here. The last thing I want to do is slow the process down. But what I certainly don't want to do is put anybody at risk, whether that be our town workers, the public, or even council itself. If we have a duty of care to ensure that we don't proceed to do anything that we do not have the ability to do, we have to make sure that. And the legislation, and correct me if I'm wrong, the Director of Public Works, there's legislation that requires occupational health and safety, that before, if there is a suspect property, and like I said, correct me if I'm wrong, but my research is showing that OH&S requires that any suspect building, before any demolition is to take place, has to have a qualified consultant that actually does the assessment, hazmat assessments on properties to determine if it is safe and if there are any contaminants in that building. And this is not done to delay the process, because the faster we can get all of the derelict buildings down, hopefully this is just number one. What we need to do is, like I said, move forward, but we have to do it safely. We have to take due diligence to make sure that we are not violating any of the legislation that's there. And as a counselor, that is my duty. And I did my research. This is what I discovered since last week. This is not intended to slow the process down. It's not intended to do anything to anyone. It's just to make sure council and the town of Grand Falls-Windsor are making the right decisions and make sure we do our due diligence before we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hollett. And I got all the faith in our staff that we've taken down buildings previously. They've been inspected, right, each and every time by our staff and an outside consultant if required. So there won't be any different. This building won't be any different than the previous ones we've taken down with respect to ensuring the safety of everybody in the neighborhood and our staff. Any more discussion? Okay, we'll move on to item number 9.4. Councillor Hiscock.
Thank you, Mayor. Council decision is required to proceed with Municipal Plan Amendment Number 27, 2026, and Development Regulations Amendment Number 35, 2026, and authorize the commencement of the required public consultation process under Section 14 of the Urban Rural Planning Act 2000. The proposed amendments would redesignate and rezone lands located north of the Trans-Canada Highway, west of Scott Avenue, and south of Grenfell Heights from comprehensive development area to commercial highway. And I propose that council proceed with Municipal Plan Amendment Number 27, 2026, and Development Regulations Amendment Number 35, 2026, and authorize the required public consultation process under the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000.
Thank you, Councillor Hiscock. Can I get a seconder for the resolution, please? It's Councillor Feener. Any more discussion with respect to the resolution? I'll call on Councillor Hiscock first.
Thank you, Mayor. The town has received interest in a proposed commercial development for lands located north of the Trans-Canada Highway and west of Scott Avenue and south of Grenfell Heights in order for the town to proceed with the Crown land application for the subject property. The Municipal Plan and Development Regulations must first be amended to support the proposed commercial land use. Municipal Plan Amendment Number 27 proposes to redesignate the subject lands from comprehensive development area to commercial and on the future land use maps of the town's integrated community sustainability municipal plan 2022-2032. The amendments are intended to facilitate the orderly development of commercial uses adjacent to the proposed recreation center, civic center lands and support broader economic development opportunities in this area of town. The proposed commercial lands are strategically located adjacent to the Trans-Canada Highway corridor and are intended to complement the future civic and commercial growth planned for the Scott Avenue area. The proposed amendments note that primary access to the site will be provided from Scott Avenue as shared access for the future civic use lands. And basically what that is, Mr. Mayor, leaving Grand Falls-Windsor, heading to Bishop Falls, it's on your left-hand side and it's adjacent from there to Grenfell Heights, and the roads will actually come from our new road that we propose for the Civic Center. So it won't be coming off the highway into these lands. You'll use the access road coming off of Scott Avenue into that and probably even back onto Grenfell Heights by the new proposed road for that area, across from Finn Avenue. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Hiscock. Any more discussion with respect to the amendment? Deputy Mayor, please.
Mr. Mayor, I think this is a wonderful idea. Grand Falls-Windsor needs to grow, and this is a great starting point for Grand Falls-Windsor to start doing that, and we'd like to see more of it. Thank you.
Will be ever. Any more discussion? Councillor Hollett.
Just to reiterate what Deputy Mayor Bennett said, I think this is wonderful for our town, and hopefully something big and wonderful and grand is going to come and fill in that location, and it's kind of pushing us more easterly in spreading our boundaries. So I think this is a wonderful thing, and I'm very pleased that this is happening.
No, and we're seeing
Thank you.
some significant growth in the town with respect to new business being built, new businesses opening, and housing development starting. So, good point. Anybody else? Any discussion with respect to Councillor Hiscock's resolution? There being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The resolution is carried. The next item is number 10.1, and a decision note with respect to the Corridor Brook Enhancement Association.
Thank you, Mayor. After review of the financial statements of CBEA as prepared by Jordan Penny CPA to decide whether to release the funding that was budgeted for CBEA for 2026 in the amount of $80,000. The proposal is that council approve the release of the remaining grant funds as per the regular schedule as done in prior years. CBEA had their financials for 2025 compiled by Jordan Penny CPA. They have been shared with council. The net surplus at the end of March of 2025 is $14,663, and that amount includes the grant funding from 2025. The association is requesting their budgeted amount for 2026 be released to them so they can continue with their summer operation without interruption. And I recommend council approve the release of the remaining funding at its regular schedule, including a 10% holdback until 2026 financial statements are complete.
Thank you, Councillor Coley. Can I get a seconder for that resolution, please? Councillor Feener, thank you. Any discussion with respect to the resolution? Councillor Hiscock.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I wholeheartedly agree with the release of that money. Corridor Brook Enhancement Area is a fabulous crown for the town of Grand Falls-Windsor. We have in excess of 22 kilometers of trail. It's beautiful. People use that. Hundreds of people every single day use that trail. And the cost that the town would incur if we took over maintenance of that ourselves, no, for $80,000, we're getting the deal. And it's like I said, it's a crown, as a jewel in the crown of Grand Falls-Windsor. I wholeheartedly support that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Hiscock. Any more discussion? Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. When I was elected to council by the residents of Grand Falls-Windsor, I do remind myself quite often about this here, and I also remind myself so often that the money that's spent is not mine. It's the residents of Grand Falls-Windsor, and it belongs to the residents of Grand Falls-Windsor. I feel that this organization, and believe me, I think they got a fantastic 22 kilometers walking trail. I grew up in that area. I killed moose in that area. I caught rabbits in that area, and that's where I grew up. And it's so nice to see. Loved walking the trail before, loved the building. We have many conferences there. But I really find that this organization can raise so much more money and be self-sufficient. They can be certainly self-sufficient in no time. The $80,000, I can see that organization by doing proposals to the thousands of organizations across the country for money. They can be self-sufficient next year. They can raise millions and do so much more work with that organization. So, you know, it's a charitable organization, and not just, you know, I really feel that not just that organization is a charitable, any charitable organization that falls under the umbrella of our wonderful town of Grand Falls-Windsor, they all should be doing this. Everyone, every organization should be applying for grants, get a proposal writer, or you can do it yourself. I do proposals, so if I can do it, anybody can do it. Do a proposal, and I just wrote a proposal for Patricia Park in Corner Brook for $752,000. I just did one for Wigwam Point for $247,000. So I mean, the money is there. It's just so easy for this organization and any organization in this town to raise money and be self-sufficient and not depend on the town for their $80,000. And they're showing a surplus here, so I don't know why the $80,000 they're asking for, because they did have a surplus of over $14,000. So we also have to look at that. So I mean, that's my comments on it. It's you know, I find it difficult that an organization like this is not the first time you heard me say that they should do proposals and go out and ask for money. It's quite easy to do. And I haven't heard nothing back from the organization saying that they have started it, or they got money, or they don't have money, and, you know.
Did you communicate with the association directly and expose them to, here, listen, Corridor Brook Enhancement Association, here's 30 organizations you can apply.
They sat right there And
Funding
I
for it.
explained to them
No, but
what
the-
they had to do. What they had to do. Our Director of Community Services, he's doing proposals all the time. It's not difficult to do. So they sat right there, I explained to them this is what they should do, and I haven't heard nothing on it, so. So anyhow, that's my 2 cents on it. Thank you.
Anybody else with any comments with respect to the Cordial Brook Enhancement Association? Councillor Cody.
I'd like to close the conversation, so if there are any other comments, technically, it should be me to close the conversation. So if there are other comments, I'd like to reserve my time to answer at the
Any more
end.
comments with respect to the association? There being none, go ahead, Councillor Cody.
Thank you. Again, this has been back and forth a million times, and we have asked Deputy Mayor Bennett, you asked him again tonight, if he's approached Corduroy Brook on how, where to access this information. Deputy Mayor and Councillor Hollett attended the Corduroy Brook AGM. Did they ask the questions or offer the information when they attended that meeting? I don't know. There were questions on the financial statements when we reviewed it. After we got the report from Jordan Penny, and I asked at that point when the questions were coming again, did you ask those questions when you attended the AGM? So I was told no, that the financials weren't available and weren't shown at that meeting, which I find difficult to understand, considering that's normally what happens at an AGM.
I think the financials were available on the screen, but there were no paper copies available at the time, and,
Yes.
yeah.
So, again, this is $80,000. I mean, you walk that trail, I walk that trail, tons of people in this community walk that trail. I'd say there's $80,000 worth of plank on that trail for bridges, connecting walkways, passing over waterways to make sure that people that can, access the trail and get a real good quality walk, fitness, hike, bike, whatever it is you want to do on that trail. I compare it to Gorge Park. I walk Gorge Park. I mean, Corduroy Brook, they maintain that trail. The town of Grand Falls-Windsor maintains Gorge Park. And sometimes it's almost embarrassing. When I walk Gorge Park and I see boards broken, rotted, fences down, I take pictures and I send it all the time. It's not priority work for us because we have so much other priority work to get done. It's always the last thing when there's opportunity, when there's time. If we had to maintain Corduroy Brook Trail to the pristine level that it is currently maintained by the Corduroy Brook staff on a very limited budget that is, I think, 85% funded through Corduroy Brook without contributions from the town, through other fundraising efforts and events and kids' camps and programs and things that they do on their own. This is not a big amount of money for us. If we had to take on that trail, it would cost us a significant amount more than $80,000. The trail would be in deplorable condition, and we'd be embarrassed to say that we owned it. So the whole point of getting these financial statements prepared by a professional was to put this to rest. We have those financials now. We have those statements. We've reviewed them. They're in order. Can we please move on from this issue?
Thank you, Councillor Cody. And I would remind everybody that we did a bit of research, and the trails in Corner Brook and the amount of money the city of Corner Brook put in their trails, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Same with Gander. The amount of money they put into their trail as a council is up into a couple of $100,000. And so I think we're pretty lucky to have a trail of that significance for $80,000 a year. It's an attraction to our town when people are thinking about moving to Grand Falls-Windsor and they're reviewing our amenities. That trail stands out because people love to walk. And I'll leave it at that for now. So, are we ready to vote? All in favor of the resolution? Aye. Any opposed? The resolution is passed 5-2. Okay, we'll move on with item number 10.2, and I'll remove myself from the chambers for this item as I may be in a conflict of interest and turn things over to the Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. All right, we have a decision note here, and ask Councillor Cody, please.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. After review of the financial statements of the Grand Falls Golf Club, a decision was required to release the budgeted funds to the Grand Falls Golf Club for the 2026 year. The proposed resolution is that Council approve the release of the 2026 grant funding to the Grand Falls Golf Club in the amount of $25,000. Council was presented with a summary of a meeting between management and the executive of the Grand Falls Golf Club. They provided their financial statements for 2025, which was a successful year. The plan for funds was discussed along with what they spent The plan for funds was discussed along with what they spent in excess in 2025. Cash flow was at approximately $74,000 as of December 31st, 2025, but that amount has reduced in subsequent months due to normal operating costs and outstanding payables at year-end. The town signed a long-term agreement with the Grand Falls Golf Club back in 2023, and part of that stipulates that $25,000 in an annual grant is to be paid from 2023 to 2033. This amount was included in the 2026 budget and approved. The review of the 2025 financial information has revealed no reason to stop this payment in 2026. The club has been budgeting this amount in their operations for this year. I recommend Council approve the release of the funding to the Grand Falls Golf Club, and management will have continued discussions on the financial status of the club and their need to continue with funding into the future.
Thank you. Any discussions on the, what's that? Oh, sorry, I need a seconder.
So moved.
Councillor Hiscock? Any discussion? Councillor Hiscock?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. No, I think it is a great thing. The golf course, like I said, draws many, many people to Grand Falls-Windsor over the year. Hotels, restaurants, takeouts, stores, retails. They got a tournament up there almost every week. And it says here in excess of $74,000, but that was as of December 31st. Since then, they're spending about $8,000 a month in cost. So that's actually a lot less, about $48,000 less than that. Also, they had to buy some new equipment. So I think personally that, I agree 100% to release that money to the golf course. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Discussion? Go ahead. Councillor Howard.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Considering that they had a successful year, they did provide and I agree, it's a highlight to a lot of people in the community and for a lot of the tourists that are coming through. But considering that they had a successful year and that they did have a surplus, and I think we could resist and not approve the $25,000 for the golf club for this year. As stated, there is an agreement with the town of Grand Falls-Windsor and the Grand Falls Golf Club. And it stipulates that there is a $25,000 that would be granted annually, but it also states that it would be reviewed on an annual basis and based on the situation that the golf club is in, which right now they're in a surplus and they're in a positive. I think that this year we could forego the $25,000 and reassess it again on a yearly basis as it stipulates in the agreement between the town of Grand Falls-Windsor and the Grand Falls Golf Club. Thank you.
Councillor James.
I stand to be corrected, no problem at all, but we approved this in the 2026 budget. Am I right on that?
Correct.
So we had our discussion on it. We approved it. The vote was a majority rule. The money is approved. I guess I'm kind of flabbergasted why we're even having this conversation. It's in the budget. We approved it as a whole. So I see no reason why we should impede the process whatsoever. Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you. Anybody else? Councillor James, like you said, it was approved in the budget, but all monies that's in the budget, I mean, they get reviewed. And we don't need to spend the money, we don't need to spend it. You know, it's a savings, there's less money we have to borrow. Like, for my 2 cents, is that I believe there's nobody at that golf course loves golf more than me. I'm there just about every morning, I'm there on the weekends. I golfed up to 154 rounds in that golf course in 1 year. I dearly love it. When I first joined the golf course, it cost me $700. A lot of money. Now it costs me $1,400. Well worth it. If it was $2,500, I'd still play. But for the 240 golfers that's at the golf course, and we're going to give them $25,000 for the golf course, and you know what? I mean, if the golf course needed $25,000, I wouldn't have an issue. But we're setting a precedent by giving the golf course $25,000 that's bringing 5, 6 tournaments, 7 tournaments a year here. So now we're going to have to talk to softball, what money they bring here. Minor baseball, what soccer, how much money they bring in town. You're going to have 24 teams down at the baseball field. How much money do they bring in town? It's a lot of money. If I had to pay $1,400 or I had to pay $1,500, it doesn't matter. And you know what? For the 240 golfers that's up there, it wouldn't matter. Our fees went up this year, and it's going to go up again next year. But if you went $1,400 to $1,500, it wouldn't bother me one bit because I'm still going to golf. And the town of Grand Falls-Windsor didn't have to give them $25,000 if the 240 golfers paid an extra $100. It's great to have a surplus of $30,000 odd started the year. I think it's the first time ever they did it, that they had that much money to start off the year. And that's not counting, I mean, that's money they never had the year before, $32,000. And the golf course, I remember last time I was on council, and the golf course came looking for a line of credit from the town, from council, and we denied it. But we got an agreement signed in 2023 by the previous council of up to $400,000 over 20 years. That's a lot of money. That's belonging to the residents of Grand Falls-Windsor. So I look at the 240 golfers, and maybe 150, 130 are from Grand Falls-Windsor. You got Bishop Falls, Springdale, Badger. You got them all over the central area. So the $25,000 coming to the residents of Grand Falls-Windsor that's paying for me to play golf, I find it very difficult. I find it really, really difficult to do that. It's tough. You know what? If the golf course said tomorrow, we need $100 extra, I wouldn't bat an eyelash. I would not, if they needed the money. But right now, with that surplus they got there, I feel that they don't need the money this year. In the fall, if he comes back and says, you know what, we're broke, okay, let's come sit with council like any other organization does, and we make a decision then. But right now, I personally can't support $25,000 that's going to the golf course, because you got 14,000 residents supporting 160 people. It's difficult to do, and like I said, there's nobody loves golf more than me. There's nobody up there. I go up 6 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, get my 18 holes in before I go to work. And then if I don't get my 18 holes in, I'm back 4 o'clock doing the back 9. And I even sold my push cart last year because I never thought I'd ever golf again. But I got to my wife, I said, I got to buy a push cart because I'm going back walking the golf course again. And it's the best $1,400 I spend a year is when I go up to the golf course. As a matter of fact, I just ordered a brand new driver, and I paid $700 something bucks for it. But I love it so much. And it'll cost an extra $100 out of my pocket. And you know what? I might be hated by every golfer up there asking for an extra $100. But that's just the way I feel. Go ahead, Councillor James.
No, I do need a new driver, there's no doubt about that. But, so, I guess where I'm just going into my 9th month now, long enough to conceive, but not long enough to deliver, to quote the late John Crosby. So I'm still learning. Because I'm under the impression that we approved this in the budget, my view is, okay, this is done now. October, November next year, the budget process comes back. We revisit this amount of money again, then we have our discussion, and we debate again, and the majority votes on the budget. And if that's in the budget, and I voted for it or against it, the majority wins. I'm of the belief and the opinion, and I could be wrong, that I'm just going to accept it and move on for this year, knowing full well that there's going to be another battle coming in the fall, and if my mind changes, or if I feel that it should change for people I speak to or don't, then we'll fight the battle again. That's my naive view, I guess. And to finish off, I just want to address, when we talk about minor baseball and we talk about subsidies and soccer and all that kind of stuff, I spent a lot of time over the years in minor baseball, minor hockey, as a player and a coach, an administrator. And to this day, we still have a major part to play. We are major sponsors to these sports. We are major sponsors to many things in this town, not just athletically related, and we always have been. If I have one concern, I don't think we're involved enough anymore in certain sports like minor hockey and minor soccer and minor baseball. I think we need a little more of an administrative role to oversee it a little more. But I could never condemn the people that put the money into these sports and manage these sports. They do subsidize it, and golf, to me, has a junior program, especially that I like, but I get the concern. But I fought this battle in November and December. I voted for the budget. I'm prepared to live with it this year, and if the time comes that I got to vote on it and have a different opinion in the fall, well, I'll take it up with myself and council at that particular time. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Comments? Councillor Hiscock.
Deputy Mayor, well, we're talking about last year. It was a good year. Let's go back. There's a couple of things. They made over $700,000 improvement to the irrigation system. We had a phenomenal summer last year that they had. They started golf early and they ended late. It was a great, great year. Previous years of that, a lot of them were disasters. Now, it was the hard work of the executive of that club, the hard work of the membership of that club, the grounds crew of that club that did it. We're looking at 70-odd thousand, like I just said. That's not what's in the bank now. It's not there. It's probably about 20,000 if you're lucky. And that's with the 25,000 that the town gave them. Now, oh yeah, but that's it, 32,000. Now, you're starting off a year, and it's a bad year so far, right? And that's all it is. For me personally, for what goes on in this town and for what the club does, I don't even golf, but I'm 100% in favor of it. For the simple fact that I got a lot of friends that golf, and I know exactly what goes on up there. But for the town and everything, and like Councillor James just said, we invest in every organization in Grand Falls-Windsor. There is not a town in Newfoundland, regardless of size, if it's St. John's Corner Brook or anywhere, puts into their community what the town of Grand Falls-Windsor does for the residents of Grand Falls-Windsor. And for us to say this here about the grant for the golf course net, no, it's not falling on my ears. And like I said earlier, I'm in favor 100% to release that money. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. As a matter of fact, it's not $20,000, it's $32,000 you started at the beginning of the year. That's not counting on the memberships they had up till then, because I paid mine from January till the end of May. And they had, and there was, I think it was 28 members or 48 members, something like that took avail of that. So it's not a big hit to the bank book come end of May. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I dearly love the game. I mean, I don't think I'm any good, but I dearly love it. I mean, I went up this morning and I started with one ball and I finished with the same ball. Only because I put that ball, when I first hit it, put it in my pocket, and I lost 3 more. And that's the only reason why. But Well, you know, it's, you know, and I would be in favor of this if the golf course was hurting. And in the fall, later on in September, whatever, if they are hurting then, I have no issues to sit with their executive and approving the money if they're hurting. But right now, I can't support giving them $25,000. I'm sorry. Okay, so anybody else? All good? So we'll take it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Nay? Opposed? 2. So records show that we had 4 and 2 motions passed. Oh, I thought you were talking. All right, can you get Mayor, please?
Okay, we'll move along to item number 10.3, the taxation receivable analysis for 2026, and Councillor Cody.
Thank you, Mayor. A summary of taxation receivables for council review. This information notice prepared by staff and reviewed by council, which provides a summary of taxation receivables as of May 31st, 2026. The total taxation receivables amount to $9,490,132.65, which is an increase of $1,042,442.58, or 12.34% compared to the previous year. Monthly collections for May 2026 were $1,211,321, or approximately 11% of the outstanding receivables entering the month. 41% of the outstanding balance relates to residents and businesses currently on pre-authorized payment plans. Residents and business owners are asked to please contact the Town Hall at 709-0402, 0403, or 0404 with any questions about their tax bill. Interest continues to accumulate to your account for any outstanding balance. There are payment plans available for those who would rather pay off their balance throughout the year, and there would be no interest applied for those who sign up on pre-authorized payments. Management and staff will continue to monitor taxation receivables and use all necessary methods of collection to lower the outstanding balance each month.
Thank you, Councillor Cody. Any discussion with respect to the taxation receivable analysis? There being none, we'll move on to item number 10.4, the interest relief recommendations. Councillor Cody.
Oops, I just hit a wrong link. $10.4.
Yes, please.
Direction is required to approve the recommended actions as per the interest relief guidelines. Council, the proposed resolution is that council approve staff's recommendations for interest relief as per the interest relief guidelines. There were 2 applications for interest relief under the new guidelines, one which has been recommended for approval and one which has been rejected. The successful application met the criteria for financial hardship and will receive $5,000 of interest relief, the maximum under the policy. The other application was rejected due to it being commercial property, and the guidelines are only meant for residential interest relief. The recommendation is that council approve interest relief for the successful applicant.
Okay, we got a resolution. Can I get a seconder, please? Deputy Mayor. Any discussion with respect to the resolution? There being none, we'll move on to item number 10.5. Oh, sorry, we got to move her in a seconder. All in favor of the interest relief recommendations? Aye. Any opposed? Resolution is carried. Item number 10.5, please. Councillor Coley, disbursement report.
Thank you, Mayor. A summary Summary of disbursements for council review. The information notice prepared by staff and reviewed by council, which provides a summary of disbursements over $1,000 as of May 31st, 2026, in the amount of $893,455.31. Also disclosed on the report are pre-authorized payments of $452,876.37 and invoices under $1,000 in the amount of $37,915.11. The town's disbursement for this period reflect necessary operational costs, capital commitments, and community investments, in addition to payments relating to partnerships with other government agencies. Management will continue to monitor expenses and report disbursements at future meetings.
Thank you, Councillor Cody. Any more discussion with respect to this, to disbursement report? We'll move on to the last item, number 10.6, with respect to the water treatment plant tank upgrades. Councillor Cody, once more.
I think there's another one after that. I'm still on for another one yet. So the direction and decision for council is that on June 3rd, 2026, the town submitted the request for an additional $345,604 HST rebate included in funding under the Build Community Strong Fund for Project 99-2024-8393-WTP tank upgrades. On June 10th, 2026, we received confirmation from the Department of Municipal and Community Affairs that the additional funding was approved. A decision is required to accept the funding and also to award the tender to Core Coat Services, Inc. for $1,310,325.68, HST included. The proposal for council is that council approve accepting the additional $345,604 HST rebate included in funding under the Build Community Strong Fund for Project 99-2024-8393 WTP tank upgrades, and to award the construction tender to Core Coat Services for $1,310,325.68. So again, the recommendation is that council support accepting the additional funding for the backwash storage tank upgrade project and award the construction tender to Core Coat Services. The proposed rehabilitation will extend the service life of aging storage tanks, reduce the risk of structural or operational failure, and avoid significantly higher costs associated with emergency repairs or full replacement.
Thank you, Councillor Cody. Can I get a seconder for Councillor Cody's resolution, please? Councillor Feener, thank you. Any discussion with respect to Councillor Cody's resolution? Councillor Hiscock.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Once again, hard work by Mr. Chapman and the staff, Mr. Glendenning, who go out above and beyond to get all this work available, to make applications. We have a number of projects that are shovel-ready to go into ground, waiting for grants to become available. And it's because of the hard work of these gentlemen and that department that this is not costing the residents of Grand Falls-Windsor not 1 cent. I think is commendable to Mr. Chapman and his staff, and I wholeheartedly accept. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hiscock. Any more discussion with respect to the resolution? There being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Resolution is carried. And our final minute item for the evening. Councillor Cody, please.
Thank you. On June 2nd, 2026, the town submitted a request for an additional $862,503 HST rebate included, bless you, in funding under the Build Community Strong Fund for Project 99-2024-8390 water treatment plant filter upgrades. On June 10th, 2026, the Department of Municipal and Community Affairs confirmed that the additional funding was approved. A decision is required to accept the funding and to award the tender to Black & McDonald Limited for $2,322,712.50, HST included. The proposed resolution for council is that council approve the additional funding in the amount of $862,503, HST rebate included, in funding under the Build Community Strong Fund for the project for the filter upgrades and award the construction tender to Black & McDonald. The recommendation again, council support accepting the additional funding for the filter upgrade project and award the construction tender to Black & McDonald for $2,322,712.50, HST included. The filter upgrade project will extend the operational life of the plant's 4 gravity filters, avoiding the significantly higher costs associated with full replacement of emergency repairs in the future.
Thank you, Councillor Cody. Can I get a seconder for the resolution? Councillor Hiscock? Any discussion with respect to the resolution? Councillor Hiscock.
Yeah, once again, Mr. Mayor, if I may. Councillor Cody just read out 2 documents that saved the residents of Grand Falls, Windsor in excess of $3 million. $3 million because of the hard work of our staff. People sometimes don't understand, they don't realize what goes on behind the scenes in our town, you know, and all of our departments. But we have really, really good staff, managers, and our frontline workers. And because of their hard work, the diligence of these people is saving the taxpayers of Grand Falls, Windsor over $3 million. That's not coming out of our pockets.
Thank you. More discussion with respect to the resolution. Councillor Hollett, please.
Anything that is going to improve the water quality in our community, and of course, once we talk about the water treatment plant, it's going to be for the region. So anything that improves the quality of our water is a good thing for our community. And the fact that it's free and that our diligent workers actually got this money for us is a big plus. Thank you.
Any further discussion with respect to Councillor Cody's resolution? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution is carried. And now we'll enter into new business, and who started last meeting? Judith or Councillor James? Councillor Hiscock.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, since our last council meeting, the town of Grand Falls, Windsor has been very, very, very busy. And I'd like to just touch on a couple of things, if I may, Mr. Mayor. During our town cleanup, like that's when the different organizations cleaned up sections of the town of Grand Falls, Windsor, they collected over 508 bags of garbage. 508 bags. So phenomenal work for all the organizations that participated in that. Last weekend we had the all-Newfoundland Cadet Biathlon tournament here at the ski hut. Myself at the time, the deputy mayor were there. It was phenomenal to see. In excess of 100 cadets, their leaders, and parents were there for that. It was a phenomenal event. And next year, Grand Falls, Windsor are so very proud that we're going to host it again next year. So it's going to be a great thing. The youth firefighters. Their year-end annual, myself and the mayor attended that. What a great evening. It was a great evening, phenomenal. And the thing I love, the number of young ladies that are in that. It was absolutely phenomenal. Great work by one and all. And also they had a bunch of previous graduates of that course came back as mentors for the new classes. Hats off to firefighter Nathan Sullivan and his group and the firefighters of Grand Falls, Windsor Fire Rescue. Great job. Absolutely great job. And also, the other day, on June the 10th, myself and the mayor were so honored to go down and present the 100th birthday certificate to Miss Nora Penny. And I've known Nora for many, many years. And when we were there getting ready, and of course the mayor was going to read the proclamation, and he went to put on his glasses. And she said, "Don't worry about that, Mike, give it to me, I'll read it for you." 100 years old, she don't wear glasses. That's true. 100 years old, she don't wear glasses. So it was absolutely phenomenal, right? What a great day that was. And also, I'd like to let everybody know the Queen Street Dinner Theater practices are ongoing, and they're getting ready for an absolutely phenomenal year again this year. So stay tuned to the Queen Street Dinner Theater website and get your tickets, because once again, John Thompson's putting off one fabulous show. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And I grew up across the street from Mrs. Penny and enjoyed her chocolate chip cookies back in the late 60s and early 70s. I'm dating myself, but so be it. Councillor Hollett is next.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things for me this evening. I just want to again extend a thank you to our town staff for all their hard work and their dedication in keeping our town moving and flowing and beautiful. And if I'm stealing someone's thunder by bringing this one on, it's the grand reopening of the tennis courts at the Shanadida Centennial Park is happening on Friday the 19th at 5:30 p.m. at the Centennial Park. And the event will include an official ribbon-cutting ceremony with special guests, free barbecue, and complimentary bottled water. And it's for all ages event, and everyone is invited to attend, because we just did some major upgrades to the tennis courts there. So we're hoping everyone will take that in. And the other thing is, just to bring up that the Kelly Ford Exploits Valley Salmon Festival, the full schedule of events, is on the town's website, and there is certainly something for everyone. And the summer solstice is less than a week away, so I'm looking forward to some beautiful summer weather, and hopefully that'll come real soon. And just a final note, I just want to wish Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. That's it for me this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Fian, are you good? Deputy Mayor Bennett.
All right. I have one thing here on my agenda here. As the mayor said earlier, Pride is happening this weekend. The flag raising ceremony is on Friday evening. I think it's 6 o'clock, Mayor? No, 4:30. 4:30. Okay, should be finished by 6 o'clock then. On Saturday, Pride is also going to be in conjunction with the Exploits Valley Community Market, and at the Joe Byrne. And there's going to be a performance there by Bittersweet Band from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock. Should be very interesting. Also, Grand Falls-Windsor's first ever drag show is on Sunday. And that should be quite interesting. It's our first one. So tickets are almost sold out. If you want tickets, just go to Exploits Valley Community Market Facebook page, and that'll give you directions for the events on the weekend and how to get tickets. Thank you.
Councillor Cody is next.
Thanks, Mayor. Just a couple things. The school year is coming to an end, fast and furious. Kids are already out enjoying they're enjoying their end-of-year school activities. A lot of the schools have been doing group activities, visiting various playgrounds, park spaces, and that in our community. I noticed the splash pad is turned on, although a little chilly, but they seem to enjoy it all the same. So just please, as we wind down the school year, the kids are going to be more active. They're going to be on their bikes. They're going to be on the sidewalks, in the playgrounds, running around the streets, playing in their gardens. Just please drive with an extra caution. We're also going to see increased activity on the dirt bikes and the side-by-sides and whatnot, which sometimes we don't love, but, we are doing our very best to formulate a plan to incorporate trail use into our community. So we do need to be mindful and encourage that activity, although it does need to be controlled activity. And I want to wish all the teachers, of course, congratulations, enjoy your summer, another successful school year. It's been a very difficult school year. Actually, it's been successful in the fact that, kids are growing and moving on, and things. We're just happy to have so many schools in this community full of students. But it has been an extremely hard year with regards to tragedies that have affected the teaching community and the students. So I wish everyone a peaceful, quiet, uneventful summer. Filled with peace and love and enjoyment, enjoying your family, your friends, your travel, whatever it is you intend to do over your summer holidays. Please do it safely, and come back again in September, ready to go again with another full classrooms of students. The high school graduation, Exploits Valley High, is happening. The cap and gown is on June 24th. And the prom and motorcade is on June 25th. So there's lots of excited grade 12 students willing, getting ready to be taking pictures and The motorcade route has changed a little bit this year, so we will be posting that to our Facebook page so that people are aware, because I know the community loves to get out and support that and see the students in their finest dress having their best time. So we will post that when we get that information if we haven't received it already. And again, I just want to wish everyone, a safe and happy summer. And we'll be here throughout the summer, although our schedule will be a little limited, but we will be here. And if there's anything, that comes up, feel free to reach out to any of the counselors or staff if you need something addressed or taken care of, and we will certainly work on it for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cody. Councillor James.
Thank you, Mayor Brown, and to reiterate some quick comments by Councillor Cody, it is an exciting time of the year now. The parks everything is busy right now. Things are coming around. I know I'm going to enjoy the summers. I'm not sure there's anybody here that's going to be surprised by that statement. In the meantime, I'd like to take a brief word about the perfectly centered gymnastics. Owned and operated by Ashley Crew. Tomorrow, June 17th, will be the club's 9th anniversary. The town of Grand Falls-Windsor initially started the program with Ashley at the helm. Her program consists of about 25 people, including coaches, volunteers, and employees. I've had the good fortune of watching this group set up and take down all equipment and decorations for the past 4 years at the Joburg Memorial Stadium. And what I mean by that is I started walking about 4 years ago in the Joe. And one Monday I came up and the gates were all open and the doors were open, and these ladies and these young girls, and that were a scattered guy, were bringing in all the gear. They took it from their home base, packed it up, started on a Monday morning. Takes them 4 days to set it up. Then they have a show Friday night, Saturday night. Then they come back on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They take it all down again on their own, pack it up in the vans, and bring it back to their home base. So I've had 4 years of watching that. I was a little sketchy this year. It's quite impressive. This past weekend was another success with 2 shows involving over 400 participants, ranging from the age of 18 and a half months, yes, months, to 18 years old. This year they added a special event involving a dance troupe known as Teresa and the Silver Spurs. They performed their line dancing skills at the opening of the program and during the intermission. And according to Mayor Brown, it was an awesome addition to an amazing program. The theme of the show was a Western stampede. The stadium was unbelievably decorated to enhance this theme. So, cowboy and cowgirls, hats off to a wonderful event. The next thing I'd like to address is I had the good opportunity to go away to Edmonton, Alberta last week to attend the Federation of Canadian Municipalities on behalf of the Council of Grand Falls-Windsor. I met people from coast to coast, from Tuktoyaktuk, Nunavut, Vancouver Island, St. John's, Newfoundland, Gander, and certainly Grand Falls-Windsor and all points in between. And I had the good fortune to spend a lot of quality time with our own Councillor Cody. Councillor Cody, as some of you know, is the president of Municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador. Has been for quite some time. Has been a councillor in this town for many, many years, and I am not dating this young lady. During this conference, Mr. Mayor, through all the events that me and Councillor Cody attended, and all the connections that we made, and some of them are already starting to bring a little bit of fruit to the place, Councillor Cody is the newly minted third vice president to the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. This is 100, yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. This is an organization that spans over 125 years. God willing, someday, this young lady is going to be the president of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. It's an honor. Somebody said to me, they said, Davey, so how's Amy? What's your involvement here? I said, very simple. Amy's the rock star, and I'm the roadie. And I got a lot of laughs in that. And it was quite true. One of the highlights, if not the biggest highlight for me, and Councillor Cody and I have talked about this quite often since we came back. I sent a note to council and managers suggesting that we listen to this lady in a webinar. Yes, I said webinar. It was an incredible keynote speech by the one and only Miss Zita Cobb of Fogo Island, a world-renowned, internationally famed individual. And this is exactly what she is. And amongst other things, she's a huge, huge developer and believer in municipal development. There's no dark cloud that she doesn't find a silver lining in. They're not there. I almost banged into her on a Saturday night. I came out to the door. I remember looking at her and going, "You're Zita Cobb." And she said, "I am, and who are you?" I said, "David James." So anyway, she is the keynote speaker to end this 5-day event. She gets 2 standing ovations. She can't get out of the building. There's a formal function that night. She can't get out of that. She's the talk of the conference. Lo and behold, I ran into her again. Not too long later, on a Sunday evening after the big hullabaloo, she was staying at the same hotel as I was. I couldn't resist it. I went over and I spoke to her. And she said, if your managers and your counselors would like a Q&A sometime, here's the number to my assistant. Please give her a call, and I will do whatever I can in the appropriate time to make myself available. I believe that's worth every cent that it cost to send me up there. It was a phenomenal conversation. And she spent a lot of time talking about Fogo Island, and she spent a lot of time talking about the country, and a lot of time talking about Newfoundland and Labrador. And I took so much out of it. And I'm not taking the shine off the third vice president. Because, again, she's the rock star, I was the roadie. I really enjoyed it. I took a lot out of it. It was a tiring thing, but it was wonderful. The last thing I got is Thursday evening. It's a staff barbecue. God willing, I will be there. I would encourage each and every person that's available to come enjoy yourselves. It's been a long year, an election year, with lots of tough issues that have been discussed. This is a good chance to let your hair down. Anyway, that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you very much, and God bless you, Amy. Awesome.
And we're all proud of Amy, for sure. I got a few notes here, and the first thing I'd like to do is acknowledge the passing of former Mayor Paul Hennessy, who served as mayor and deputy mayor in his time. Certainly well known for his music as well. There was a couple of bands back in the day. They're very early bands in Grand Falls-Windsor. One was called the Teenage Trio. The other one was called the Commanders Orchestra. So had a big impact on music in the community. First when the town entertained music at all. 20-year member of the Royal Newfoundland Regiment Band for 20 years. And chair of the Kiwanis Music Festival for a decade. I could go on and on and on. Certainly a credit to himself for all the good work he did for the town over the years. When he became disengaged from politics, I guess he continued to be a tremendous supporter of the town, a tremendous help to many, many groups over the years. And certainly he will be missed. Our sincere condolences to his wife Liz and to his daughters Pauline and Tracy and Kim and their families. And Godspeed, Mayor Hennessy. What a great job you did for the town in your day. And also, I'll go back to Councillor James, gymnastics. I attended 2 of the shows over the weekend, and just tremendous. 400 athletes to the gymnastics club got as members now. 400 athletes, not just from Grand Falls-Windsor, from all central Newfoundland, and to see the successes. And I'll acknowledge Director Mercer for all your good hard work in that gymnastics program off the ground initially, yourself and Ashley Crew. And the successes where they are here 9 years later is absolutely incredible. So congratulations, Ashley, to you and your staff and your volunteers. who make gymnastics fun for 400 athletes here in Grand Falls, Windsor. The Lionel Kellen Hospice Walk took place last Saturday. A very successful walk. They raised a tremendous amount of money. The Lionel Kellen Hospice is a credit to our community as well. Grand Falls, Windsor is a better place as a result of that hospice. So our congratulations to President Mark Griffin and his board of directors, and to Peggy Hamilton and her staff at the hospice for the wonderful work they do for the community, and not just for Grand Falls, Windsor, but the entire island. And last but not least, Colby Allen Hunter was in the chambers a couple of weeks ago. He was the mayor for the day. Colby is a grade 6 student at Sprucewood Academy, and we held a little competition. Colby won the competition, and what a great day we had. I'd like to thank our staff here at the town hall, at the depot, at the fire department, and at the municipal police force for treating Colby to a tremendous day, and all put together by Renetta Hurley. So Renetta, thank you very much for that. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Good job. And hopefully we'll see Colby back as the mayor someday. Who knows? A long ways to go yet, but he had a great day. He wore his chain of office well and spoke very well. We had some tulips here in the hall, so we brought a tulip around to all the girls who work at the town hall, and the depot, and the municipal police department, and the fire department. So, bit of a charmer, and did a great job. It was a great day, and you really enjoyed yourself. Okay, that's all I had. Anybody got anything else? One more opportunity. If not, I'll call for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Hiscock, second by Councillor Janes. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Meeting is adjourned.